Well, Fifine reached out to me and they sent me this, a D6 Ampli game. It's a stream controller. Not really sure what it is, how to use it. I made certain not to watch other videos about this, but I guess we're gonna find out. This is what's next. Well, there it is, the Ampli Game D6. Before I begin, for full transparency, this product was sent to me by Fifine for the purpose of review and testing, but know that this video has not been reviewed by the vendor before it was posted, and all opinions are my own. So let's begin. We have D6 is the model number for this. It's a stream controller for Stream and Studio. It's programmable. We have the series of buttons here. It's 5 per row, and there's 3 rows, so 15 buttons. Switchable RGB, so there's a little bit of lighting under here, and compatible with OBS. And you might be thinking, what is OBS? Well, for those that may not use it, and to be honest, I've dabbled in it, it is, or OBS, stands for the Open Broadcast Software, and is free and it's open source. So you could do recordings or live video streams. These events are divided into scenes in OBS, and you could use this controller to switch between those scenes rather easily. Me, on the other hand, maybe I might want to see if it works for Final Cut or standard productivity apps. You know, click a button, launch Word, maybe. But anyways, sidetrack, compatible with OBS. So there you go. There's nothing here really. And then at the top, on the side, it says complex workflow integrated in one key. So it sounds like you could press a key and it does multiple things. Rich and powerful plugins for multitasking and customized icons. Let's see, visible LCD keyboard, controllable RGB lights, and 15 programmable macro keys. And there's some information on the back, kind of repeats what's on both sides. So we do have a user manual. So, okay, and is it, okay, it's like a map fold out piece of paper. There is the device, and there I'm going to assume this is the USB cable. I moved everything off to the side. Let's go ahead and get this open. And there is the Stream Controller. And I'll pull that off. And so these keys they feel okay. What's on the back here? We got, looks like brightness control. That might be to control your RGB. And a USB-C connection. Great. So now what do I do with this thing? Okay, let's set that off to the side. And not to bore you, but I'm going to go through this user manual, and then let's see what we can do with this thing. There is our Ampli Game D6 from Fifine. But anyways, what we want to do now is we want to get this thing set up, and I'm going to try to do some basic configuring with the Ampli Game, and I'll be recording on my screen and cutting to and from what we're seeing here on the camera. And, you know, and then of course, when we add buttons, I will show that on the screen. So there we go. It is plugged in. And I don't know if you could see that or not, but it has the keys kind of lit. That's kind of cool. I like that. Wow, look at there. Found a picture frame holder. Got that. And it looks like I can see it on the camera. So hopefully I'll be able to do some zooming in on that. All right, I think we have our driver downloaded. It's right here. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to start recording there so we can see these steps. Basically, it looks like a traditional installer, almost a gig. All right, successful install. We'll go ahead and move that to trash. And now what I want to do is find there it is, the Fifine control deck, and let's go ahead and launch it. And then we have an accessibility thing in the background, so let me move this off to the side. We want to open up the settings. We want that to control. We will enter in our password. Okay. I think we are good to go. All right, we got that up and running. All right, let's see if we can get a shortcut key going here. So these are some of your options, it looks like, over on this section. We have, oh, website. There we go. So can we add a website? Okay. And then, so it does show up on the button here. Oh, and it's even animated. I don't know if you could see that. So the camera is recording what's over here. And then what we want to do is we're going to call this Apple. So I don't know if you can make that out, but it actually writes Apple on the bottom. And then if we go down here into the URL, we're going to type out https www.apple.com. And if you looked at that, it actually changed out the logo. It actually writes Apple on there. Okay. Now what happens if I select it? Look at that. Went straight to apple.com. If I press it again, I'm assuming it's just going to open up another. Oh, yep. It's whatever the active tab is. Well, I got a bit carried away. So let's look at the software real quick before we get back into the unit itself. To the left, we have these 4 buttons. One is like an app store. Then we have the form you can access. This appears to be, it says tutorials or help. And then I want to focus on settings real quick. So here I have it so that the application does start up and is minimized so that I will have access to the program buttons. You have information on your device and information on scenes. So what's a scene? Let's go ahead and close that. Scenes are over here. You can go ahead and create a new one. And when I do, you'll notice that that Apple logo here for the one button that I programmed or set up is gone. And so this is like a whole nother set of 15 items that you can set up. So you can have one that maybe is for Photoshop or Final Cut or OBS specifically, or just, you know, basic computer tasks. Again, if you have to get rid of a scene, you just go ahead and select the minus button and select yes. All right, the items over here on the right are specific callouts. We did a little bit of that. We did that with the Apple launch here. So there are items related to the Fifine control deck itself. So some items there that you could play around with. The toolbox itself, this is items that open an app, the website that we did, hotkeys, so on and so forth. So you have that. Audio player settings, you can have basically just play audio, stop audio. So those are 2 buttons there. And you have your touch bar. On the old Apple laptops, it's kind of mimics some of those items if you wanted to add those in there. So again, you got previous track, play, next track. So again, you can add those on here as well. Operation flow, you got action flow, carousel, action toggle. And then last but not least, and we briefly talked about it at the beginning of the video, is some OBS Studio stuff. I don't think my target audience is this, but yeah, we might touch a little bit on this towards the end of the video, but just know that those are there. I want to add an app function, and to do that, we're going to go to Toolbox, and this time I'm going to open an app. And I select this and drag this over. I can drop that, and then here is your app. You can say that this is Final Cut Pro. Well, I'm going to add 10 because it used to be called 10. And then in the App Store, here are all my apps that I can select. So if I find Final Cut, watch what happens. It knows now that this is Final Cut Pro. And then again, I can make this a little larger. And if I select those, let's go up to 16. Let's look at the device. Now you can see here on the Ampla game, we have that Final Cut is running. And if we watch the screen here and I press that button, and there is Final Cut. I had it already running, so I can access that rather easily. All right, another thing that I found out is this hotkey switch. Now we know hotkeys, right? Those are your keyboard shortcuts that can quickly get you to, you know, do certain things. What if you could switch between multiple hotkeys? Hotkey switch, if I drag that down here, copy and paste. And again, we can adjust the size of that so that we can see more of that text. There you go. All right, next, let's go and do copy. That is Command C on the Mac, and on pasting, that's Command V. That is the two functions. All right, next, let's bring up a document and let's do some copy pasting. All right, on the screen I have 2 pages documents. 2 pages documents, I guess that's how you would say that. On the left we have this let's try copy and paste. And then on the right is a blank document. All right, so I'm going to do Command A, and now we want to copy, so I'm going to press the copy and paste button once, okay? And then I'm going to go over to the second document and press this button again, and there you go, copy and paste. So you could program functions to, help minimize your work. Let's look at the App Store. And well, first off, the App Store itself, there's a couple items. We have that tutorials we talked about earlier. There are icons, so you can add additional icons, I guess, based off of what shows up on the buttons. So that's kind of cool. We have the Discover. This is just items related to Fifine, I guess. So they're kind of cross-promoting. No problem with that. And then plugins. This is what I wanted to kind of look at. All right, we finally got plugins to load. These are the options or the categories over here. What I wanted to look at was productivity. And here we go, Final Cut for Mac. Let's see, I'm gonna go ahead and click install. We're gonna click OK. That didn't seem to take too long, and I'm going to guess that if I close this out, there we go. So in the right-hand side, I now have these Final Cut actions. So you could just go in and let's say that if I wanted to do blade, I can just throw that here. And we're just going to call that FCP blade. And then if I go into Final Cut, let's see, it's right here. And I'm just going to go ahead and select Final Cut blade. And there we go. There's our blade cut right there. So I could delete this section if I wanted to. That's definitely going to streamline my Final Cut Pro functions with all these here, because there's definitely a few of these that I use quite a bit. Awesome. I like that. Last, let's see if we can get OBS Studio connected. All right, our final test for this video is OBS. So to get started, I'm going to go and select OBS, which I've added to the Ampligame. I've selected the button. It should open OBS on the screen. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and we're going to shrink this down a little bit and move it over to the left. So here is my Fifine control deck. Here's my OBS. What we want to do is we want to add an action. So if I double click this folder, you'll notice that this subfolder doesn't have anything in it. So we're going to select and drag our record option over, and you get the OBS Studio plugin on the screen. I'm going to set that up over here. Going back to OBS, what I want to do is I'm going to select Tools, WebSocket Server Settings. We want to make certain that our enabled WebSocket server is on. The enable authentication could be on or off. I'm going to leave it on because I'm going to use the password. As you can see here, it does require or has a field for password. So if I select Show Connect Info, we have our IP address, which I'm going to paste up in the first field. Server port is correct. I'm going to copy that password here and paste that in. And I'm going to say connect. You're going to notice here it says connect to OBS Studio. And that's set. And then over here, our remote address, it's up and running as well. So we're going to select OK. Now, what I'm going to do is we're going to minimize our Fifine control deck. Kind of close that out. We're going to bring this up. And then what I want to show is this start recording feature. And with the camera on the Ampligame, if I select the icon for that, you're going to see that it started recording. And so that is successful. If I select it again, the recording will be off. So now not only do I have an option to open OBS, but I can have the option of starting and stopping recording. Why haven't I had this Ampligame before? Why didn't I have some sort of control unit? I didn't think I have a need for it. Guess what? Now that I've reviewed this thing, I don't know if I'm going to be able to live without it. let's take it back to the studio for my final thoughts. All right, when I started recording this episode, I was hesitant. I had this impression that devices like this were only helpful to streamers and more advanced content creators. Now, after spending a week reviewing and working with the Fifine D6, I realize now that this impression was wrong. I think that anyone who works with a computer on a regular basis will find value with this tool, especially when it comes to helping with their workflow. Heck, even before writing this script that I'm currently reading, I created an Opens app function for iPages. To me, the hardware feels solid and the software was easy to use and navigate. The buttons do require some downward pressure to activate the assigned function, but after time, I got more used to it. While it doesn't do anything to the device's function, that the RGB lighting is cool. I like it. But again, doesn't do anything for the device itself. In short, I believe you'll find the D6 from Fifine might be the way to go, especially as it sells for almost half as much when compared to competing products. All right, so based on my 10-point score that I started a few weeks back, I'm scoring the D6 9 points based on the following. Style and design and quality control, 2 points. I don't have any complaints. Packaging and build quality, 1.5 points. This is due to its lightweight and all plastic construction. I wish it had more weight to better assist in keeping this in place on a desk. Overall performance, 3.5 points. I think the buttons could be a little bit better, but the quality of the button images and the ability to assign functions was really good. Final take, again, if you've been looking for something to help you with repetitive keyboard tasks or a quicker way to start applications, then you know what? This might be something that you'll find helpful. So that's a wrap for today. If you found this episode helpful and informative, could you take a moment to click the thumbs up icon and the subscribe button? To watch another episode, you can click here or here. And until next time, I'll see you again for another episode of Hey, What's Next?